Let's go back to the year 2016 when I was a very, very new member at Toastmasters in the UK, in Leamington Spa. And I had a speech prepared that night, and I was going to talk about some topic on like weird quantum mechanics facts and things like that. And I was like, oh, this is going to be blow everyone's mind. This is going to be awesome. But right before my speech, Ernie was due to speak that night. And after he presented, my jaw dropped. Wow. And I thought, you know what? No one's going to remember my speech after this. And that's correct. Even I don't remember what I spoke about that night. That's how awesome it was. Ernie is a professional public speaker who teaches storytelling for a living. So I'm sure you're all going to get some very valuable things out of this. Without much ado, please welcome Ernie Boxall.
Mr. Speech, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guests, do not move. Do not go anywhere. Stay there. Welcome, welcome everybody. It's so good to see you all. Welcome to my humble abode. And tonight I want to talk to you about the ancient art of storytelling. Welcome and thank you for this opportunity to bring to you the skills and the benefits and sometimes the drawbacks of talking to a live audience, or now to that lens, the camera. Because I believe that as business people, as students, as ordinary members of the public, this may well be how we look at the future. Connecting through a camera. Why? What are the benefits of connecting through a camera? I couldn't be talking to you now except for talking into that camera. Unless you were very, very generous and paid for my travel to Aachen, you would not see me. So that is one of the benefits of being able to talk, not so much over the camera, but also to a live audience. And one of the things that I teach most avidly is clarity. If you have pens and papers, clarity. You have to be clear about who you are talking to and what you are talking about. Let me give you an example. Today, I am talking about the skill of storytelling. That is totally different to telling you a story. So what's important for you is to ask yourself one question. Who is he? Who is he? Who is that man on the other side of the screen? What do I know about him? What do I want to know about him? What can I learn about him? Is he an expert? Does he do research? Is he a mentor? Or is he just a plain teller of stories? The next question you have to ask yourself is, who am I? Why am I here? What will I get from 30 minutes of listening to this man? And so, what is a story? In the context of what we're talking about tonight, there are two answers. There is the business story. If you are an engineer, if you are delivering a presentation to a board of directors, or there is the personal story. That is where you are telling your audience private and intimate details about your life. And for the end, I would like to ask you now one question. I want you all to put into the chat if you know how your mother and father met. Just say yes or no. Do you know how your mother and father met? Yes is fine, no is fine. Wonderful. You see, what a place to start your story. You know your story from before you were born. And if you have children, I hope they know how you and their father will meet or mother will meet, so that they know their story from naught. But what if it's a business story? Then instead of talking about your life, you're talking about charts, figures, graphs, and PowerPoint. It's a totally different skill entirely. But to start your presentation, you could tell the people gathered what you were doing 1 week before you were doing what you're doing now. So do you know, could you tell anyone what you were doing 1 week before you were doing what you're doing now? Because that could be where your business story starts. And so, when we talk about the story, whether it's a business story or whether it's a personal story, I believe that there is something called the 4 P's of perfect presentations. The first P is preparation. Do you prepare your presentation? Do you prepare for your first icebreaker speech at Toastmasters? Do you prepare for speech number 10, competent communicator? I hope so. Now, there are some people who say, I don't like to prepare my presentations. This is my 4 P's. The second P is practice. How often do you practice? For instance, If you were doing this presentation today and someone asked you, so maybe, Vivek, when did you turn up to this meeting?
15 minutes before it started.
15 minutes before it started. Good. Shushant, when did you turn up?
10 minutes before it started.
Wonderful, wonderful. I turned up for this meeting a week ago when I started to prepare and practice what I am talking to you about now. The lesson, never turn up anywhere unprepared. Because you may have come along to this meeting and I may not have been able to link up. Vivek would then have had two choices. We either shorten the meeting, or Vivek would ask, can someone else stand in now? And you put your hand up and you say, yes, I can stand in for 20 minutes because you've prepared and practiced a presentation just for that sort of occasion. Or you've delivered a presentation and you've remembered it. So how much kudos would you get in a board meeting if the chairman said, unfortunately, the main speaker hasn't turned up, we think we'll have to cancel, and you say, no, sir, I can do this meeting? How much recognition would you get through being able to do that? The third P is posture. How many times have you seen a presenter, a speaker, walk to the front of the stage, turn and face the audience, and then put their hands in their pockets or behind their backs, or started to rub the hands together nervously, or let their shoulders come in? If you can get those first two P's correct, if you can prepare your presentation, and if you've practiced it so that you can deliver it without notes, then I think you will get your posture right. You will stand tall, shoulders back, taking your red jacket off for the moment. And you will face your audience and you will deliver the fourth P, which is very important for storytelling. Perform. Perform. Perform like you are someone who knows what you are doing. Because even if you don't, the performance will convince people that you do. Storytelling is sometimes about illusion. Giving the illusion in business that you are successful, that you know exactly what you need to be doing to become more successful, when actually inside you might be thinking, oh damn, there's no money coming in, I'm not getting the right business, I need to get more business, I need to do more to get business. But you can't tell the audience that. You have to perform your story. Now you may ask me, how do I know if I have delivered a great story? And this is something I might do with you later. There are three questions to ask. You ask your audience, what did you like about my story, about my presentation? What did you like? You ask them, what would you change? And the most important thing is, what do you remember? Now, you may say to them, I may say to you, what did you like about my presentation? And you might say your smile, your tone, your speed, your volume, the way you changed from being a very old man Santa to being a mentor and a teacher of storytelling. Or what would you change about my presentation? Maybe you didn't like the volume, the speed. Maybe you didn't like that I went from telling a story to sort of saying all the way through the presentation. Maybe you didn't like my pauses. These are all the things that you have to ask yourself, either when you have given a presentation or when you've watched or listened to a presentation. What did I like? What would I change? But most importantly, if I came back to you in a week's time and I asked you, what do you remember? It would be interesting to see what your comments would be. Because what you remember about this is the most important thing. If I wanted to get on in your world, if I want to be invited back, I want to be remembered. And that's not always about what you say. There is a wonderful quote. People won't remember what you say as much as what they see when you say it. Which means people may not remember the words that you've said, they'll remember what they saw when you performed it. Now, if I come back in a week's time and say, can you remember what I said? Some of you may say, no, but you did dress up in a red coat and be Santa. But that is a start point. If you go out into the market after that and someone says to you, I'm looking for a man who can tell stories and play Santa, it may well be that I am the first name on your list, because you've remembered that that's what I do. So remember, what did I like about the presentation? What do I remember? What would I change? And what do I remember? And with all that, if you put that together, then you will have the makings of a very good story, whether it's a business story or whether it's a personal story. Now, I know from what I did, I ran a storytelling club, and we met once a month in Leamington Spa, where authors, storytellers, poets and musicians met to perform in front of a live audience. And every event we donated to a charity. And so every event had someone from the charity come along to talk to us about their experiences and their charities. And let me tell you that the people who I remember most are two people who came along and told us about the times in their teenage years when they succumbed to drugs and drink. And when they came to a point where they tried to commit suicide, but failed. And then met someone who they cared about. And their story from then on is about growing with that person so that they now run businesses and charities. What a story. And that's the thing about that kind of storytelling, is that you have to be honest. Can I swear? You have to tell the shit in that kind of storytelling. Black, is that green? Green. It looked black to me. I thought, damn, I've gone too far. Thank you, Monica. So we come down to the other type of storytelling, which is the ancient tales. As Vivek was saying, those tales came from our ancestors. And they were, if I can go back to the start, they had real clarity about them. They were hand paintings on the wall of animals and human figures with spears. They were clear who they were and what the message was. And so that nowadays, with Twitter, with social media, you have to understand that you now have to be very clear about what you're offering. So, can we come back to that first question I asked you? Do you remember how your mother and father met? You see, I do. My father was a sportsman. He ran. He played football. He played rugby. But most of all, he was a boxer, and he gave 100%. He never drank alcohol. Not until about 2 years after he finished in sport, when an injury finished his career, and he went out drinking with a friend. And he had 3 pints of beer, and it went to his head. He started to feel giddy. So he thought he'd walk outside and have some fresh air. And as he did so, he tripped and he knocked a woman over. He picked her up and apologised. Now, they had been friends for a while. And so she picked him, she helped him because he was a little bit giddy. She took him around the corner to where she lived, and he spent the night. And that's how I was born. But not that night. I was born 2 years after, when they were married. But my life started when my story started when my father walked out of a pub and knocked a woman over. Now, when I was 8, my father was made redundant. When I came home from school, he'd sold our beds for money, and we slept on pallets with straw on them for 6 months. Does that sound like a good story? You see, it's not mine. That story was told to me by a lady called Helena Wyman Lester, who lives in Rugby, works for a health and safety company, and now dances in theatre. You see, I know her name, I know where she lives, I know the company she works for, and I know a little bit about what she does for leisure, all through listening to her story. This behind me. In 2007, I went to meet the Lakota Indians, and I was presented with this rug. The top of the rug are the 4 colours of the 4 directions. This part here are all of the Lakota tribes. This part here denotes all of their major battles, including the Little Bighorn. And it was an honour to receive that rug. Except that was all a lie. I picked the rug up from a charity shop. But I'm able to tell a story about that rug, which may or may not be the truth. Which means that as a storyteller, you sometimes have to be careful about who you talk to and what you talk about. So now we come into something that you might be interested in, which is your business story. It's the same function. Tell your business story from the week before you were starting it, and then tell a story from the first month, the first year. Tell a story from the second month, the second year, and build the story of the company up that way. Now that is something that I have done. And if you would like, it would be my pleasure. I have a template which I use to craft my stories. I'd be willing to send out by email. I'd be willing to send you all that template to allow you to craft both your life and your business story, if you permit. Ladies and gentlemen, I am getting the card which says I have 5 minutes left. Can I ask if there are any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Ernie. Come on, everyone. Unmute yourselves and clap for Ernie once, please.
No problem. Are there any questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
Is it necessary that every story, which might consist of a person doing hard work or something, needs to be heard, or the world needs to know about it?
Can I tell you why I think yes? I am also a therapist. I work with people on anxiety, dread, and also body pain. When they first come to me and I ask them questions, their answers are normally yes, no, yes, don't know, don't know. When they trust me and when they know I can help them, they start to tell me what happened to them when they were 8, 9, 10, when they were bullied, when they were hurt, when they were attacked. And it's when they start to tell me those things that the healing really starts. And what I say to them, if you tell me your story now, with all the bad stuff in, you have got rid of it. It's come out. It's not blocking. And that means that now you have room in here for more stories, for the stories that are coming in the future. And the point is, because they're going to be happening to you, you can decide whether they're going to hurt you or not. The stories that have happened to you already have hurt you. The stories now that are going to happen to you, you decide, yes, I'm hurt, yes, I'm angry, or you decide, let it go. So in terms of your well-being, I would say, tell people the true story.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.